Can you do this? As early as your 40s, you may lose muscle and strength. Protein supports muscle health. Ensure Max Protein has 30 grams of high-quality protein to feed your muscles up to 7 hours. So take the challenge. Ensure.
A teenager is dead and his pillion hospitalized after the motorcycle he was driving crashed into a cow along the Petersfield main road in Westmoreland on Wednesday morning. He has been identified as 18-year-old Finardo Whitelocke of Logwood, Whithorn in the parish. Now reports are that the two were heading in the direction of Savlamar when upon reaching the Petersfield primary school, a white cow walked in the path of the motorcycle. Whitelocke and the pillion, a minor, collided with the cow and were flung from the motorcycle. They were both assisted to the hospital by passers-by, where Whitelocke was pronounced dead and the pillion hospitalized. The government says it has taken note of concerns about rising airfare due to the ongoing global crisis. Tourism Minister Ed Bartlett says Caribbean leaders met this week to discuss some of the issues impacting the tourism sector globally and plans to address them.
The issue of the price of aviation services came to the fore, and a big discussion on it, and we saw that as one of the headwinds in terms of the demand, the constraining demand. But we also recognize that there is going to have to be a recalibration of some of the public policy arrangements around aviation to enable the level of cost effectiveness that will keep airlines flying.
Just last month, Spirit Airlines shut down, noting that high fuel prices, which have been rising because of the war in Iran, has made it impossible to stay afloat. There are also concerns that other airlines could also face similar fate. Caribbean leaders believe the matter must be treated with urgency.
What it means is that public policies, governments will have to sit with the airlines and have closer discussion as to how can we collaborate, what can we do to harmonize, for example, certain policies within, say, the Caribbean area. How can we look at airspace and the cost of utilizing airspace? What are the fiscal architecture that we can now craft to enable more cost-effective engagement of our airline partners in the region? And we are prepared to start that discussion because we are determined to not be defeated by the external shocks that are imminent.
Amidst concerns about growing violence in schools, a call this evening for parents to stop getting into physical confrontations with teachers after they discipline their children for bad behavior. Now, State Minister for Education Rhoda Moy Crawford made the call at the 55th anniversary celebration of her alma mater, Villa Road Primary School in Manchester recently. Krista Campbell reports.
From violence among students, violence between students and teachers, violence between parents and students, to violence between parents and teachers, there is mounting concern about safety and security in Jamaican schools. For Junior Education Minister Rhoda Moy Crawford, some parents have a hand in worsening the indiscipline among students in schools. Addressing her alma mater, Villa Road Primary's 55th anniversary in Manchester recently, she stressed that speaking negatively about teachers in front of children undermines an already deteriorating respect between students and educators. And so she encouraged parents to support teachers in having to reprimand students for bad behavior instead of condoning their children's wrongdoing.
When students misbehave or they don't do what they're supposed to do in school, and the children go home to tell their parents, the parents come to school the next day ready to fight off teacher. We have to stop that. We have to stop that. We have to return to the days when we respect our teachers, we value our teachers.
Ms. Crawford, who is also a Member of Parliament for Manchester Central, cautioned students about how the kinds of company they keep, especially when they get to high school, can impact their education.
When they get to the grade 9 and grade 10, You see, all of those young girls and boys who took on the hot girl business and the hot boy business, they did not end being very successful students. It was those who were the nerds. So when you go to school, to high school, focus on your lesson, especially the grade 6 students who are on your way out. Be respectful. Remember the good values that you learn.
She recalled sneaking into what was deemed the brightest grade 1 class when she was in primary school and asking to be allowed to stay, but was instead encouraged to work hard to advance to the brightest class in the next grade, which she said she worked towards and was successful. In thanking Villa Road Primary for laying a firm foundation for her educational pursuits and her political journey, Ms. Crawford also assured students that cheating their way to success will be short-lived.
Some of the students who started off in 1-1, the brightest class, they didn't end their primary journey in 6-1. They ended in 6-2 or 6-3 or 6-4. And some who started off in 1-4 and 1-3 or 1-2 ended their primary school journey in 6-1. So when you achieve that success, you have to continue to work hard to maintain that success.
Villa Road Primary School's anniversary was celebrated under the theme 5 Decades and Beyond. Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
It's time now for a break, but stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. 46 years after the deadly blaze destroyed the Eventide home for the aged in Kingston, survivors, relatives and government officials gathered at Hero Circle yesterday to honor the victims and reflect on a tragedy that shocked the nation. Anthony Atkinson reports.
Wreaths were laid and prayers offered as the country remembered the 157 women who died in the deadly blaze at the Eventide home for the aged in Kingston, marking an official day of national remembrance. 46 years later, the tragedy remains one of the most profound human disasters in Jamaica's history. Local government Minister Desmond McKenzie described the horror of the final moments of the fire.
These wooden buildings, which were standing from 1870, a part of the colonial system when the Evening Tide Home was first built, burned away rapidly. The official Jamaica Fire Brigade record is that while firefighters responded quickly, after being called, the buildings burned and collapsed within 4 minutes after the arrival of the Jamaica Fire Brigade.
To this day, the official cause of the fire remains unknown. Mr. McKenzie also noted that while the disaster drew international attention, it exposed serious conditions about how elderly, immobilized and vulnerable persons were treated at the time.
In May 1980, there were 658 residents at the home, 344 men and 255 women, 69 children. The official assessment done before the fire revealed that in addition to the poor and physical circumstances, many residents who suffered from mental illness were not separated from their counterparts and treated approximately just as they would the normal residents.
Time now for the Business Minute.
The Bank of Jamaica is set to intervene in the foreign exchange market this morning, offering US $30 million. The central bank says banks and cambios are required to sell funds to members of the productive sector who have outstanding bills at no more than 20 cents above the purchase price. BOJ adds that the minimum bid is US $100,000 and each bank and cambio must submit at least 3 bids. It also notes that no single bid should exceed 20% of the total intervention amount, or roughly $6 million.
Time now for the top stories from around the world. In the region, the Banking, Insurance and General Workers Union BIGWU says it is moving to protect employees of the Trinidad Express newspaper after the company announced plans to cut several editorial positions as part of a reconstructing exercise. The union says the proposal would reduce the editorial staff from 33 to 26 workers, affecting editors and reporters. BIGWU insists the company must follow all legal procedures governing retrenchment while holding management accountable during the process. The cuts come amid continued financial pressures facing media houses across the region. And we head to our final break. When we come back, we'll have your Midday Sports Report.
Can you do this? As early as your 40s, you may lose muscle and strength. Protein supports muscle health. Ensure Max Protein has 30 grams of high-quality protein to feed your muscles up to 7 hours. So take the challenge. Ensure.